Hey guys, back out from a pad here. Today is a very important day. We're going to be talking about why I allow my veggies to go to seed. You can see behind me I have 4 different kinds of my greens that I allow to go to seed. Today we're going to collect some seeds. I'm going to show you how I store them. But more importantly, guys, we're going to talk about my top 3 reasons why I allow my plants to go to seed. All right, so before we start, let me just show you real quickly the 4 kinds of seeds we're going to be harvesting today. So I have my Shanghai bok choy, that's in the front row here. Behind it, I have my chijimisai, which is like a Japanese cabbage, but it tastes very much like a bok choy. Over back here, I have my mustard greens, Florida broadleaf mustard greens, and then here I have all chijimisai, and in that bed back there, I have some more broadleaf mustard greens. So first of all, let's talk about what stages you can actually start harvesting. So you want to harvest your seeds when the seeds within the pod are fully formed. So if you look at these mustard greens, no, actually these are, oh, and I have yotfa broccoli. These are yotfa broccoli. So yotfa broccoli is a Chinese broccoli. They form very small broccoli heads, but the leaves are also edible. All right, and they have beautiful white flowers, white and yellow flowers as they bloom. So guys, as you can see with these yotfa broccoli, the seed pods are fully formed. You can see in the pod itself, you can actually see the seeds underneath it. Let's pull one off. So in the pot itself, you can see that the seeds are formed within it. You don't want to harvest when the pot is very thin and small, because then the seeds aren't fully formed. But these seeds are fully formed. You can also wait until the seeds have dried within the pot. So this is the youngest stage that I will harvest it, when it's fully formed. Ideally, you want to wait until the seeds actually dry. Here you can see in this stage, they're just beginning to yellow, but they haven't fully dried. And then back here, if you look at my mustard green seeds, these are fully dry. This is like the ideal stage. So that's the stage. So let's talk about how I harvest them and how I save them for the following season. So for me, because I'm harvesting now when the seeds they aren't all fully dried, I am gonna be using I'm gonna be saving them in paper bags. That way they can continue drying and they won't mold, right? If you put them in plastic, or if you put them in a closed jar, they could form mold. You don't want that to happen, right? You want your seeds to just completely dry in the bag. So I have these are just all these paper bags. Doesn't matter, what paper bag you have. I'm using 1 paper bag for each seed type, because of course you want to make sure that you're harvesting and save. You don't want to mix your seeds up when you're saving them. You want to make sure that you have your seeds separated. So I have 1 bag for each seed type. I'm also harvesting 1 seed type at a time. So I'm going to go through first and harvest my Shanghai bok choy, then my chijimisai, then my yotfa broccoli, then my mustard greens. I'm going to harvest each one separately and save each one separately. So I'm going to go ahead, set the camera up and start harvesting. And while I harvest, I'll tell you my top 3 reasons for harvesting. All right, guys. Oh, let me do one close up first so that you can see. To harvest your seeds, you can start at the base. I have some chicken wire here, so I'm starting up here. You just literally cut them off, and I put the entire thing in the bag. So I'm making sure I'm getting just the Shanghai bok choy. The chijimisai is right behind it, so I want to make sure I'm not mixing them up. So this one is Shanghai bok choy. So I'm just gonna cut the stem, and I'm putting the entire stalk into my bag. Some of them are already completely dry, some are not quite dry. I'm gonna let them dry in the bag, and then in a week or 2 I'll just go and run my hands. Literally, you can just pull and run your hands over it, and all of them will open up easily. Most greens, they open up very easily. You don't have to do the individuals. You just run your hand over it and all the seeds will fall out. So I'm gonna probably do that in a couple weeks when I make sure, after I've made sure they're completely dry. Guys, I would say the top three reasons I have, really, they're almost equal, because definitely I had number three on the list as savings, but guys, that could easily be number one. I will never have to buy any of these seeds again, guys. Not only that, I probably have collected probably over $100 worth of seeds. Just one stock would be equivalent to a seed pack, or probably two seed packs. And guys, this is enough for probably over 100 seed packs. And we know, guys, organic seeds cost anywhere from $4 to $6 each, especially since these are all exotic greens. These are not just the normal greens. So not only don't you have to buy seeds, but I'll never have to buy transplants again. So that's number three, which is a huge savings. Then number two, guys, these seed pods, when you allow them to dry, they reseed themselves every year. So I think probably 80% of these I never planted. Chijimisi is the only one I planted because that was my first time growing it. But I didn't plant any Shanghai bok choy or mustard greens or yard fire broccoli. All the seedlings popped up from last year. All I had to do is collect them from the grass or wherever they popped up, and I transplanted them into the bed so I could control where they are, and to make sure my animals didn't go in and just eat them. And guys, that takes me to number one. The number one reason why we should allow our plants to go to seed is that when you allow those seeds to develop on the plant and to dry on the plant, those seeds are acclimated to your garden's microclimate, right? So next year when I plant these seeds, they're going to be more resilient because I allow them to develop and dry on the plant. So they're going to be more acclimated to my microclimate, so they're going to do even better, and I'm going to have even healthier plants next year. What I did is, for the seeds that are not fully developed, I'm just going to compost these or maybe feed them to the chickens. And actually, guys, most of these seed pods are edible. Let's try one. This is the Chijimisi seed pod. Most of them, when they're green like this, they are edible. Some people make them in stir fries, so I'm gonna try one. Pleasant taste. It's quite a pleasant taste. So if you don't want to waste them, you can actually just, if the seeds are still tender like this, let's see, if the seeds are still young and tender like this, you can actually just eat it. Very pleasant taste. Very, very pleasant taste. You can eat them raw or you can add them into stir fries. So there is a bonus tip for you. Alright guys, so this is the bed after I cleaned it up. As you can see, I left all the stubs in the ground. I just used a clipper to clip them all the way to the soil level so that they can break down and feed the soil, feed the microbes, make the soil even more, actually add aeration. As they break down and they rot, they're gonna have little pockets where the roots were. They're gonna be pockets of air throughout the soil. So this is really good to just leave them in the soil. Also left the leaves. If you have healthy leaves, you can leave the leaves across the soil. My plants didn't have any disease, so I'm able to leave the leaves in the soil, right above the soil. If there's any disease like powdery mildew, you want to remove them out of the garden. Put them in the garbage, not in the compost. And guys, speaking of seed saving, you can do the same thing with your zinnia pods. When the zinnia is dried up like this one, so when you look at it, when you open it up, this has like tons of seeds. Let's open a little bit up. So guys, each of these little things, that's a seed pod, so you can actually save zinnias. Zinnias is another one that pops up over and over again. Same thing with marigolds. Once you plant them, you'll continuously have them in your garden. So I'm going to also put this in a little Ziploc so I can save my zinnia seeds. As I cleaned up the bed, found a Scotch bonnet pepper that I planted back in November. It was completely covered over. I planted it from seed. Now that the bed is open, this will have a chance to survive. Also, I discovered some dill, and not only that, guys, but my Everglades tomato now has a chance to breathe, and this is absolutely loaded with tomatoes. I've cleaned up some yellowing leaves that were lower to the bottom, and I've trellised it up the arch So it's very, very healthy. I'm gonna have Everglades tomatoes for a long time. I really believe that the beneficial microbes and the beneficial nematodes that I added to this bed a couple months back have helped, because normally when I leave things to go to seed, you know, a lot of disease will take over, especially since the tomato was trailing all over the ground. I would have expected to be very diseased, but as you can see, this tomato is extremely healthy, and this was one of the first beds I treated with the beneficial nematodes and the beneficial microbes. There was a little bit of very, very small amount of aphids on a couple of the branches. I can't even find it now, so I'm gonna probably give this a spritz with some neem oil, but overall this looks really healthy. And guys, I also found a huge dill plant, which I did not know was there, that also sprung back from seed. That's a dill plant over there wrapped up in between the tomato. All right, guys, that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna go ahead and finish all the other beds offline. I'm gonna do a separate video showing you how I revamp my soil, how I get my soil healthy and ready for the next planting. Let me know, from out of these 3 reasons that I gave, what is your number 1 reason for allowing your plants to go to seed? The reason I didn't mention today was availability. Seeds aren't always available, guys. Anyway, let me know what what is your reason for growing seeds, and you know, stay tuned. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you see how I revamp my soil, so we can grow our own food together, guys. We can eat our own healthy food. We can save our seeds, guys. We can do it together. Till next time, bye now. Ooh, look at these tomatoes. Ooh wee. Ooh wee, yummy for my tummy.